All right, this is officially the patron-only after show Q&A stuff. Let me,
What show was it, Brian?
yeah, right. Official patron-only after show for Honey Badger Radio number 77. How wrong is Allison?
How wrong was I? I
Uh,
don't know. I quite honestly, I'm going to tell you from the beginning. I don't know how long I can keep myself awake.
You were so incredibly wrong, Allison. I hated every minute of it, and I
appreciate
could
that
not
from you.
find anything remotely redeemable about anything you said in that video. I was disgusted in the subcockle region, which is
it was bad, and you should feel bad.
You got my cockles, and then you got the subcockle region. That was where I felt the most disgust.
Subcockle region activated.
I'll be right back. I let my dog out.
I was horrified. I don't think I can be part of Honey Badger Radio anymore.
Okay, I understand.
So offended. No, actually, it was really, really good.
You seem to. Somebody in the chat was like, and this might be slightly arrogant, but they said anybody with an IQ over 120 could get what you're saying, Allison. I was like, that's an interesting thing to say.
Well, no, it's like you have to actually, like, because you are going so far outside what is the sort of normal paradigm that people are thinking within. You are taking it and running with it so far up the trail, right? It takes a huge amount for people of like average intelligence to even follow what you're saying, right? It takes somebody with extremely above average intelligence to be able to understand it, and then but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be some kind of esoteric, arcane thing, because if we manage to cause a paradigm shift in think about things, then all of a sudden it's not that your ideas have become more accessible to people. It's because people's way of thinking has become more accessible to these ideas, or has been able to your ideas more easily and integrate them into their existing paradigm. I think that's essentially sort of the what's going on in terms of, somebody saying, well, anyone with an IQ over 120 could understand what you're saying. That means that people with an IQ of 100, average IQ, maybe they don't yet. Maybe in 10 or 20 years they will.
Okay, did I don't like that. That could be insulting. Did you have questions that you wanted me to answer, or
Anybody? Any of you guys?
Well,
I've had this conversation. I've had this conversation too many times. I'm all out of questions.
Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight?
no, all I do is just keep chewing it.
Have you ever had it straight in your mouth?
Disintegrated? You know what?
Have you ever had that?
No, I've discovered that the new Hubba Bubba that they put aspartame in is the most disgusting thing on the planet.
Well, they really figured out how to put the ass in aspartame.
Oh, fucking yeah. But it's like...
But when your mother says don't chew it, do you swallow it in spite?
Oh.
Then you catch it on your tonsils and you heave it left and right?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. It starts.
Yes, I actually do have that song memorized.
Oh, no. The aspartame gum, it just starts to deteriorate once you put it in your mouth. So it's like you're chewing on some rubbery sawdust. And then it just sort of, it's so freaking sticky. Like, you can't actually, put it out of your mouth with your hand. You have to spit it out because you can't touch it with your hand. Because once you touch it with your hand, it, adheres to your hand. It's
the blob.
Yeah, I know.
Secretly, it's a small piece of the blob.
It's the what that wad, the freaking the wad from the Ripping Friends, the undigestible
meat
wad.
Oh, God, yes.
I am the undigestible wad.
Okay, so did anyone have any questions? Like, Arwag, you said you were.
I don't have any questions. I'm going to let the patrons ask questions.
Arwag,
and
you
I'm-
said.
I'm going to troll the comments on my latest video while I was.
Okay, you said you had trouble following it.
When I say that, I just mean in my own mind. If I go back and watch it like 2 or 3 times, I start to get it. But for some reason, my mind has a hard time following what you say. Not to say that it's wrong, but you just say it in a very eloquent way that I'm not used to thinking of. So.
I'm not trying to be obtuse or difficult to follow.
No, I know, and that's the thing. It's on my end, not yours.
No, I doubt it's on your end. I have to clarify my thoughts more. It's difficult because like this stuff is sometimes just at the tip of my fingers, and it takes all of my effort just to get it within grasping reach, and this is the outcome. So
Well, it's tough because you have to make a lot of analogies to make it understandable, and some things don't even have adequate analogies yet for them because you're on the cusp, like you said, of some of these things.
It's so funny how we really think in analogies.
Yeah.
So nobody has any questions? I did it on purpose.
I don't have any questions for you. I thought the this last video was probably one of the clearest and best ones of the. I think it has been 3 parts since the first part where you declared you weren't an MRA.
Yeah, but I basically went back on that sort of, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I got what you're saying. I actually think you're always pretty well, not easy to understand, but the only video that I really thought you were kind of muddled and I didn't understand was that part 1 where you declared you weren't an MRA, but that might have been because I was reading other people's reactions and not really being influenced by them. I'm not really sure.
Which is funny because Karen and Karen's boyfriend, fiance, they really liked that one.
Yeah, I don't dislike it.
Which one?
I just thought you could have said it in a better way. I don't know.
The first
one.
The first video that I did, the one I read at your house.
Yeah, no, we both. Well, you have to realize too, though, that both my significant other, my fiance, and I are essentially like eyeballs deep in this, right? Like we're not actually audience members. We're he actually, like, we discuss these ideas all the time, and then I make videos and I run my ideas past him, and he says, yeah, no, that makes sense, and then I do my videos and all of that, right? So essentially we're in a different place. We're a little bit weird. I have absolutely fucking, like, I have no problem with Are the Red Pill. I have no problem with Rushvi. I have no problem with a lot of manosphere groups that MRAs hate, that lots of MRAs hate each other, right? Like, so just a couple weeks ago, I did a hangout with Rockin' Mr. E, who detests Stardust, absolutely can't stand them, they hate each other, right? And then 2 days later, I did a hangout with Stardust, right? Like, I'm a little bit, and my boyfriend, we're both a little bit weird in that way, in the sense of, we're not going to get offended by an idea. We're not going to get offended by an idea. We're going to become interested in it and think about it. And because we don't ever have that sort of idea that, or that feeling that any idea is offensive, nothing Allison could say, and no way that she could put it. She could put it in the most retarded way possible, right? But we would still try to examine what she's actually saying, and we would still try and figure out whether the idea has merit underneath all of her retardation.
Yeah,
right? So
that's kind of a good point in what I was saying. Well, what I was thinking was sometimes when I listen to you, Allison and Mike, especially, not so much Karen, although for some reason people misinterpret Karen too sometimes. I don't really know why, because she's always very clear. But just the way they talk, I feel like sometimes I need to put in the effort that most people just wouldn't put in, but I put it in because I'm a little weird, and one, I'm like already really like them, so I want to put in the effort. Basically, I know that they have a point, even though I can't understand it immediately. Huh?
Mike speaks in metaphors a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I don't really follow it, but then I need to like really put the pieces together.
Yeah, no. I mean, like if you've ever watched his little animations.
Yeah.
And then you read the comments underneath, like, what the fuck was that? What did I just watch? What does it even mean? Can you explain the point? Like, just what this cartoon was about. That's essentially, and a lot of what he does is sort of speaking in these metaphorical terms that, they're always entertaining because he has that sort of turn of phrase and he has that command of language and sort of almost a poetic way of speaking. So they're entertaining to listen to, but if not everybody's going to be able. I don't even catch every single users or every single point he's making. So yeah, and Allison she's just freaking esoteric and weird.
And
well, I understand Allison much more than Mike's metaphors usually.
I do have a question though. I did want to talk about something with Karen about the whole Islam apologia thing, because I'm doing a video series on it, but I don't know if this is the right time since we're like recording for a show.
Well, just don't say anything you wouldn't want to share with the other patrons. This isn't
Well,
going to be shared with anyone.
Yeah, I don't really care. I was just like, if it's too off topic or something, I don't know. Since it's supposed to be...
Actually, in many ways, it's not, because we are...
Well, yeah, it is kind of related.
It is a on topic, because those are the men over there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be questions for Allison, but... yeah, I'm doing like a video series on the whole... just the whole drama, especially involving Spinosauruskin and his girlfriend, and just their behavior on Twitter. And I've been following this whole thing since it's been unfolding the whole year, starting with the Cologne thing, where you guys first really got started. The accusations, getting criticized specifically for Islam apologia, and
because we were like, we're actually presumption of innocence is important to us.
And I've been watching it evolve on Twitter since, and then last month in October, Spinosauruskin released that video criticizing Allison and Mike during a Ragening, and they were talking about war and how basically the point was women worsting and male disposability causes war, and the whole thing where those bad men are over there are hurting their women or will hurt our women, and that is used to justify wars.
It's not the cause of war.
It's not the direct cause of war, yes. But then
it's just it's the thing that they use. It's the thing that the establishment uses in order to convince people to go and die. Yeah.
It's just like a narrative that's floating over people's heads.
Can I just interject for a second? If Mike, are you sleeping?
He wasn't feeling very well.
Do you want to drop? Because there are people who want to get in the chat, and if you're not really gonna, I mean, I don't want to kick you out.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, go sleep and feel better.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
I love you, Mike.
Yeah, I have reasonably warm feelings towards you. I think that's what they are.
I'll take it. I mean, he'll take it.
My gut says, you know,
Cool,
my
bro.
gut says it's okay. It's good. Okay. And then I was going to ask Anna. Anna, are you participating in the chat or just? I mean, if you're just listening in, that's fine. But
I mean, I neither here nor there. I can go or I can stay. It's up to you guys.
okay. Well, I mean, if it's of interest to you, stay. But there's a patron who wants to get in. So I mean, don't feel bad if you have to drop, is what I'm saying. But if you don't want to drop, don't worry about that.
Well, I'm pretty much doing something in the background anyway, so I'm gonna let somebody who wants to converse actually get a chance.
Oh, hey, Bunny. Wait, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I gave her a link, Brian, because I know.
It's hacksaws.
Okay, maybe we can get done. Sorry about all that. It's like shuffling shit.
The attractiveness quotient has just dropped. I'm sorry.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a
What
problem.
are you even talking about?
Bunny, your hips are so round and furry.
They are actually. Well, not the furry part so much.
And
you know.
your teeth are so buck.
I think she's talking about your icon.
And your
No.
tail is so white and fluffy.
I clean it regularly.
And your ears are perky.
Is that
Oh,
is that a
they
bunny
are.
sound?
It is a bunny sound.
Okay.
Actually, interestingly enough, bunnies don't often make noises. But they scream when you kill them.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah,
I
It's a
I grew up on a
horrible-
farm.
That's a fun fact.
It's horrible.
It's a horrible shriek.
They scream like that.
Even when I play Minecraft, when a bunny dies, I'm like, oh, to my soul.
They scream.
It's
They
true.
scream like Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes. Which I use often. It's awful.
Okay, so we
But
lost
no,
one.
Oh my god,
Well,
did
that's
you
what you
lose
get
them
for
because
throwing
I
Mike out.
came on?
Okay, so we also completely.
Yes.
Completely.
Finished your sentence?
Lost our
no.
internet connection?
I think we lost her too.
Sorry?
Anyway,
Where were we?
I was just talking about Spino's video, and basically he took that and he's like constructed the straw man where he was accusing us of, or not us, but you guys, of attacking specifically women's rights activists, specifically the hashtag Stop Enslaving Saudi Women, which really struck me as strange because you guys haven't really talked about it at all.
I'm not even on Twitter.
Yeah. So
no, I think
You're
he was
above all
using.
that.
I don't think he was criticizing us for attacking that hashtag. I think he was essentially saying, "Here's this hashtag that's attached to all these examples of oppression of women, and here's these people who are saying that oppression of women doesn't exist in Saudi Arabia."
yeah,
Right?
kind of.
So he was like, it wasn't like you're targeting or criticizing this hashtag campaign, any of this activism that's going on, but that you deny, the things that you say are diametrically opposed to these good things that are going on, that are attached to this hashtag. And it was the same thing. Like Crowder asked me, this morning, he said, I've been told apparently that you and I are feuding. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be the Islam apologia thing, right? That's got to be what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I explained, essentially that, like I wish you guys, not just the right wing, but people like Dave Rubin and Sam Harris and others, right? Just stop telling feminists to go over there. and fix things. Because if you look at our laws 150 years ago, they looked a lot like their laws now. And what did feminists do? They bunged it all up, right? Because they never took the other side of the equation into account. So we need a more holistic way of looking at things. And we need to actually pay attention to the situation for men and boys as well as for women and girls, right? And I could tell he was really uncomfortable with all of those ideas, but he was willing to listen and not really interrupt and, and all of that, right? But it just really is this sort of blanket accusation that if you even against women's rights, you're against the progress of women, you're against all that is good and just that could be done in the Middle East, that there is no society, including Islamic society, that is based largely on a core value of hating women.
It's fucking absurd! It's fucking absurd. Does nobody... I feel like I've woken up in upside down land.
The thing that...
Nobody sees
Anybody who is versed in evolution, right? So, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
Anybody understands evolution, understands selection pressures, not just natural selection pressures, but sexual selection pressures, is going to realize... Right? Gad Sad, right? They're going to realize on a rational level that it is impossible for any society to survive and thrive in a competitive world if one of its core values is the hatred and maltreatment of women. Specifically.
Thank you. Oh my God.
They will understand this on a cerebral level, but they cannot grasp it on an emotional level. You still have people like Gad Sad, evolutionary fucking psychologists, would agree with me if I said would you agree with me that there is no society that is based on hatred of women? He would say, yes, it's evolutionarily impossible. And then I'll say, what about Muslims? And he'll say, well, accept them.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm watching Spinosauruskin's behavior on Twitter, and he seems like back in July, after Doc released his video, The Man Card, you can see him on Twitter being rational and using really strong MRA arguments against what the people were saying. But then, for some reason, he just got stupider and stupider as time went on. And all this drama and... Yeah, I really don't want to have to say it, but
sorry, but I will say it. I'm good.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I watched the whole thing unfold as it happened, but I had to actually go back and actually take screenshots, read all the threads, put everything together, read the YouTube comment threads and everything to make sure, absolutely sure, what was going on. And they don't have a leg to stand on. It's mind-boggling. And
no, it's he came in because I'm part of a group conversation on Skype that includes Bane.
I was going to ask you about. He said he had a conversation with you on Skype, and he was citing.
He only had a conversation with me on Skype because I saw him say something about me. I just happened, when the notification popped up on my screen, I noticed that he said Karen has misrepresented Islam, right? And so I was like, what the fuck, right? And he's not saying this to me. He's saying this to everybody else in this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So I went in and I'm like, how so? And he says, well, you said women have the right to divorce. And I said, they do. Right? And he says, but they don't have the same right as men. Right? They don't have the exact same. They don't have an equal right to divorce that men do. Right? And I said, when did I ever say they did?
Strawman!
Yeah. And then he says, well, but they don't, and so they're not equal. And I'm like, when did I ever say they were equal? Right?
Yeah.
And then I said, and then he says, well, why don't they have the equal right to divorce? And I said, because of Maria. right? Because of the Mar, the bride gift, right? If women had the same right to divorce as men, which is I just stand here and yell, I divorce you 3 times in the town square, and then I get to collect that $50,000 fucking lottery ticket, right? And you get to go to jail if you don't pay it to me, right? Why do you think that in Islamic countries more than 60% of divorces are initiated by women? Right? Because men can't afford to divorce without grounds, right? They can divorce without grounds. They can divorce for any reason whatsoever, as long as they're willing to pay that out and then pay out all the alimony every month, right? And go to jail if they can't afford it, right? That's why men don't divorce without cause under Islam, right? Women need cause. It's pretty easy to find cause. It's so easy to find fucking cause that more women divorce than men do, right? In Islamic countries, right? And they get to collect their payout and they get to collect their alimony. Isn't that interesting, right? And he says, well, but they still have to prove it to a court. And I'm like, and they do overwhelmingly, right? To the tune of 65% of divorces that are granted by Islamic courts are initiated by women. And they collect and women have the right to divorce without grounds as long as they're willing to give up all their entitlements. They're willing to give up their mar. They're willing to give up their alimony. They're willing to just walk away with nothing but the property they came in with, right? If they're willing to do that, they have the same right to divorce as men, right? And he's like, but, a court might decide not to grant her a divorce, so it's not really a right. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, right? Like, literally, you are saying the equivalent of, right? Okay. Because some people get away with murder, right? There are no laws against murder, right? And then he says, well, Skepo, the Maria, the Mar, is not always money. And I said, no, sometimes it's land or a building or cattle or a house or whatever, right? Okay, or gold, right? Sometimes it's that. But it's usually a substantial sum. And he says, well, Skepo married some guy from Pakistan, some Muslim guy, and her Maria was a bouquet of flowers. And I'm like, well, she obviously hired the wrong fucking lawyer to negotiate her marriage contract, didn't she? Right? And he's like, well, so there you go. And I'm like, why don't you go look up Mar on Wikipedia? It is there as insurance. It is there as an insurance policy. It is essentially divorce insurance for women. It is there to give them the equivalent of 5 or more years of the average annual household income of a family in the Middle East in order for her to survive the divorce and support herself, right? So she will not be destitute. That is what it is there for. That is why they negotiate the contract. They negotiate the sum, when they sit down and contract to marry. Your fucking friend getting fucking duped by some cunt from Pakistan, some abusive asshole, right, does not mean that that's not what that is there for, right? And him being abusive and forcing her to hand over her money, right, forcing her to work and hand over her income to him does not mean she did not have rights over her income and her own money and all of that shit and the right to, a $30,000 to $50,000 fucking bride gift. That doesn't mean she didn't have those rights. It just meant that she was some fucking stupid Western bitch who had no idea how things work in the Middle East and just took his word for everything and got fucking conned. Right?
Okay, you realize that this is not entirely private, Karen.
I don't fucking care. Okay.
No. Okay, let her go.
Hey,
No, I am in such a difficult position here.
Why are you in a difficult position, Bunny? Shh, Karen.
Frankly, because I have information on military counter propaganda with regard to things like ISIS and Islam. And I have to be so fucking careful what I say. Because I know things that legally I shouldn't know, and it...
Oh.
Okay, well, that was
Karen, but I can't...
You agree with Karen, but you can't agree with Karen?
No, she's breaking up.
I think the Secret Service got her.
Like, the reason I'm so quiet is because I agree, and I can't out the people that have given me information that backs you up, and it makes me insane. I can't.
All I know is Alex, right? Actually, his name's Aladdin. But Alex, the 23-year-old man I worked with, he was an expo at Tony Roma's, which means that he makes slightly above minimum wage, and he gets about 5% of the tip pool, which means that I tip out 3.5% of my sales, and then all the other servers do, and then he collects 5% of the big pool of that. So it's not a whole lot of money. It's maybe $300 every 2 weeks, right? So he makes just over minimum wage plus $300 every 2 weeks, and he sat down. He went to Lebanon to contract with the girl that he wanted to marry, and his Maria was $35,000. $35,000 that he has to pay her. He gave her $2,800 in gold coins, and the rest of that is a paper debt that will be called in the day anything goes wrong in that marriage, right? The day he cheats and she catches him, the day she leaves him with any kind of grounds, the day he stops supporting her to the level she feels she should be supported, right? She can call in that debt. They don't even have to divorce, right? She can call in the debt in the middle of the marriage at any point. At any point, she can call that money in, and he has to provide it to her. Right? That is a massive fucking sort of Damocles over a man's head. And he, as a Canadian, right? Because they're now living in Canada together. As a Canadian, she can't have him put in jail over that. But if they were living in Lebanon, yes, absolutely. If she called in that money, he would go to jail if he couldn't come. If he or his parents couldn't pay her out within a month or so.
Karen, obviously the only way to make this equal is to allow the woman to just divorce with no reason and still get the marriage, and also force the man to pay the marriage when he divorces, no matter what.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the way to make it equal, obviously.
That does sound equal.
Sounds to me like Aladdin needs to stay one jump ahead of the lawman. That's all. That's no joke.
He's in Canada, so none of this actually applies. He could take him to small claims court, because we don't have Sharia-based laws here. She could take him to small claims court and demand that he pay, and it would not be able to be expunged in a bankruptcy because it's a personal debt. But he wouldn't be put in jail for it. It would just be something that he would have to pay. He could be ordered by a court to pay. He could actually, he could be put in jail for it if over the course of 2 years she took him back to court over and over and the judge ordered him to pay and then found him in contempt or something like that, right?
Oh my God. Thank fucking God you're talking about this, Karen. I was just talking about this today with one of the few people that I can actually discuss this with. You want to talk about the fucking sword of Damocles. People don't frame this in terms of men are responsible for the actions of the women in their household. So the women in their household fuck up and they run the risk of having their head fucking chopped off. What a goddamn pressure that is, and nobody is pointing that out. I don't want to be responsible. Are you fucking kidding me?
One of the things that makes it difficult to actually talk about this stuff is the lack of statistics. And Karen, you tend to just put in tons of data when you rant, but very little statistics to back it up, especially when it's on like a live stream or something. You don't put anything in the low bar.
No.
So
given that it's a very emotional situation, I doubt statistics would change anything.
So
but
when
honestly,
for example,
I have plans to try, because the thing is, it is actually very difficult to do the citation thing for live streams and discussions and conversations. But I have potentially some ideas of how to deal with it. But it's a long-term solution. So, it is what it is.
That's a lot of work, for sure.
It will require the money.
But
it would require. It's probably a good part-time. Just dealing with citations. It would probably be at least a full day's work for one show.
Yep.
But how do you get citations when there's so much emphasis on people's own testimony of their lived experience? And
Yes.
we got into that in our last chat.
Yes.
Of course they're going to say, no, everything's fine. And there's no longer that objective ability to say, no, you're not fine, because according to this, you're not. This is, oh my God, there's such a fucking thing in forensics right now. I mean, I know this is partially public, but it's also partially not. And for fuck's sakes, these war crimes here in Canada, there's an investigation happening right now behind the scenes about, are these suicides and homicides, they're not, if it regards Islam, there is a push here with us, right, who are supposed to be the fucking good guys, the neutrals, to not classify them as such. It's making me insane. Like, what am I walking into? Because I will never do that, right? I mean, good or bad, I'm a fuck, right? I'll just evaluate the data, and it is what it is. I have loyalty, but my loyalty never supersedes my job. This, it's happening right here. Rotherham is happening right here in Canada, but it's so quiet. And I don't know. Why are we not pointing this out in both respects, right? In respect to how it affects men and how it affects women. But it's not being done because nobody wants to fucking touch it. Because nobody wants to be contaminated.
Well, you're the one talking about it and knowing about it.
Yeah, and that's part of what's keeping me going. I am so close. No, we're speaking. We're speaking honestly here, and I'm on a lot of morphine. Not gonna lie, but but all it does is make me. All it does is
I'm
make
high
me
as
more.
fuck right now. Please trust me, guys.
It's prescribed though. It's prescribed. I swear
Sure
to God,
it is.
I am legit. But it totally is. But it makes me. All it does is make me more honest, and more vulnerable,
Yeah, right.
frankly. So don't abuse me. But I am so close to fucking quitting academia, and quitting the corrupt system, and focusing my brain, such as it is, on actually making a difference. Because right now, everything is stacked against me.
Guess what? There's a new position that opened at HBR, a part-time job to collect citations.
Well, actually, no. Come into my brain cave, because I have this image of myself. You know, when I've finally gotten sick of the shit, and I go postal, and hopefully I won't be arrested in the process. But I would make a really good general manager house bunny. You know what I mean? I am super organized, and like make muffins and do laundry and organize all the files. I have this image in my head.
Bunny.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
Come move in with me. You can sleep in between me and my mic, and
That's okay, as
we
long
have
as you're
a
warm.
room. And you can do all of that stuff for me.
I am so good at organizational
At
domestic shit.
HBR, we are now
It's like-
muffins.
It's true. I am so not a girl in many respects, but traditionally feminine. I'm like so good at all of that housewifey shit. It's awful. It's embarrassing.
Okay.
I darn socks. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, here's the deal. Move to Vermont, marry me, and you'll be a citizen in 3 years.
The way Trump's going, I hope he doesn't back down on too many more things. Oh my God! Okay, I have to tell you guys.
You know
this,
that,
because
by the way, real quick, I just want to get this in. But Jennifer Daw, the programmer, she's looking to move to emigrate back to the U.S. now that Trump is president.
Oh.
She's told me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's she?
Canadians are coming to the States now.
She's a game developer who's like on Twitter. She drew Brian's
Doge.
dog,
Yeah.
Doge, with the
Aw.
nipples.
She made the nipple Doge that you see.
Derpy Doge. I love the Derpy Doge.
This on Teal Deer's channel. I'm sorry to just and you would make a great
No, do it.
Bunny. What now says on Teal Deer's channel. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize to Allison. I was among the crowd who curled the accusation of Islam apologia. I, however, kept watching your channel and have even subscribed. I have long since acknowledged myself that it was a knee-jerk reaction driven primarily by strong emotion, and that it was an accusation entirely lacking in substance. And it's long overdue for me to admit my error to Allison. So you have a most humble apology from an unemployed, wig-bedacked, shitposting internet frog, for whatever it's worth.
Who is that?
Oh, it's Mr. Say What Now, who has a icon of Pepe in a wig.
Let your anger flow through.
No, I have this unique position as being the Badger not Badger fucking new guy, right? That people write me and tell me shit about you that they don't tell you. And it's all like, you've changed my life, you've changed my mind, I'm so glad I encountered the honey badger. But they don't fucking tell you. But they tell me.
Well, some of them do.
Yeah. They tell us all the time. I've gotten to the point where I have so many people telling me shit like that that I don't even have time to read it all anymore.
Good, because I want them to tell you. I'm always telling them, I'm like, you should direct that at the people, because I have done shit. Okay, I am nobody. You need to direct this at the people who've actually made a difference. So
no, but
you're helping.
I'm throwing my chips in.
I'm going to finish the comment. In addition to an apology, Allison also has my thanks. HBR has ultimately been a force for good in my life and has helped me begin a journey of discovery and reevaluation of both myself and of my worldview. It's been quite challenging and depressing to stare my own shortcomings in the face and to wonder if there's anything I can even do about them, but it has presented me with an opportunity for self-improvement. Mm-hmm. I just hope I can succeed in achieving it. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, right? I just wrote Hannah because a couple of weeks ago some guy wrote me and he's like, I saw you on HBR and I have this crisis. My friend lost his kid and what do I do? And I'm like, oh my God. Because I actually know a fair bit about the legal system, but I don't put it forward, right? Because I have this like professional thing that I have to maintain. So I'm like, why are you writing me? How do you know I know about the legal system? He's like, I don't know. It's instinct. Help me. So he relayed his friend's kid got absconded with, and his ex-wife, her dad was a member of the police force, so LEO weren't helping, which is pretty typical, frankly. Although I work with the police, but they've got their own limitations and foibles. Anyway, so I said, okay, so number one, you really need to talk to a real honey badger, because I'm just like a bunger. He's like, no, I've got you here. Tell me what to do.
Is he in Canada?
No, the States, but I know the States.
You should ask, what's his name?
Hannah? Yeah.
No, the other men's right is actually very farther's right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, see, I grok your brain. But he was in a panic.
You grok nothing!
I grok nothing! But I work so much on instinct, you have no idea. I'm not an intellectual when it comes down to it. It's all on sniff test. It's awful. But I'm not often wrong, so it works out for me. But anyway, so I said, okay, well, this is what I know. This is what your friend needs to do. This is what you need to tell him. He was military, which I get because, you know, I get military. And I said, okay, so don't do all these things. And he got his kid back. And he followed my advice, which thank fuck was correct, because I never know with me. I always doubt myself, right?
Well,
but I said, this is what I know. Well, always, right? But I said, this is what I know. This is always a good way to go. He got his kid back. He wrote me, and I'm like, do you guys feel like this every day? Like, do you have people writing you saying, hey, you saved my fucking life? Because that's pretty awesome.
Not every day, but I do get a bit of it. And then I also get the shit like, you're a liberal fascist and
oh, God.
And
why are you so depressing, Allison?
I love this one. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find this one. This is gotta be the best anti-Allison comment ever. I'm gonna find it. Oh shit. Oh wait. I should read this. Oh fuck. Oh, I'm between two anti-Allison comments. Both of them are good.
Oh, between two.
Just say them all. Just say them.
Sounds like a shit sandwich.
I'm glad I started out with a thick skin.
Wait, are fascists conservative?
No.
Don't stare too deeply.
They're socialist.
I
Yeah,
have
they're
on that latest video that I did. I have one person complaining that I'm a right. I'm far right, and I hate I'm not. I don't know. I'm
You're
throwing
an
liberals under the
Islamophobic
bus.
Islam apologist.
And I have somebody saying on the right saying that I'm a horrible fucking leftist. I'm like right in the fucking middle.
They don't know. If they don't know, if they don't really have a good argument, it's not worth paying attention to.
I don't think you're in the middle.
The metal one says, this is on Teal Deer's channel. This woman ruins HBR for me.
This woman ruins her own project. Allison ruins Allison to me.
You ruined everything, Allison.
HBR.
Sorry?
We all know it, Allison. You ruin it.
I know. Now that it's reasonably stable, I should just cede the reins to Brian and then just put put my hat on, put my range, whatever those things are, fedoras. No, they are fedoras with cowboy hat on, get on my saddle and ride into the sunset.
This is what I was trying to tell you, Allison.
I'm surprised.
People don't understand how you think. It's like 4D chess.
I'm glad
People
that
do
it
not
takes
get
one
it.
comment to make you do that.
No, I'm not gonna do that. She has this tendency to make very, very basic points and repeat them many times throughout the course of the conversation. It's made even more annoying because of the contrast between her and the intelligent people like Teal Deer or Karen. Not trying to be a dick, but I really wish they'd get rid of her.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wish they'd get rid of Brian and replace him with money.
Get rid of herself. Oh
No.
my god.
Was this Karen's shitposting account?
I did not. I must admit, I did not truly understand this phenomenon until I had everybody jump on me going, melting point changes, buddy, don't you know that? And I'm like, oh my god, the point, your head, distant, right? Not the fucking point. Oh my god, do I have to write a fucking thesis using chromatography? Because I will do that.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Oh no, I see Joe is in the comments defending
Yeah,
her.
I responded to that.
Very basic points.
And then someone responded to me saying, you know what the problem is? Allison doesn't acknowledge that we have to get violent. Like, the real... What's staring us in the face. We need a violent revolution. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
There's gonna be
you see that?
losses on both
Joe,
sides. People are gonna have to die.
Wow.
That always solves
That'll
everything.
change things.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Hey, the American
okay.
Revolution went well.
Why didn't we think of that before?
It's not the same person. It's not the same person who originally wrote the original message. It's someone else came in and said, yeah, Allison is bad because she doesn't acknowledge what's staring at us in the face or something. I'm like,
It's violence. That the only conclusion is violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's the internet. It could have been a troll.
George Monet, Allison is wrong. The quote was clearly meant to mean how close women were to equality with men. He's talking about the Charles Fourier quote for of feminism, and I'll get into that.
Right.
I'm going to address this shit.
Can I have the original quote in French so I can verify that?
I don't have the original because I don't read French. I apologize.
En français? No?
I have this. This is a link to the extended quote. I'll send it to you. But it's
wouldn't it be funny if it was all just a bad translation?
Charles Fourier actually said you were supposed to love men.
The quote is still in English.
You're not supposed to kill them.
Okay, all right. Let me finish this.
Oh, wow.
Not hate them. You're supposed to. Okay. He was looking at a world in which he assumed he would never grant full equality to women, so he assumed that the best way to judge society was how close women could come to having equality with men. If you assume society would never treat women equally, even the most absolutely free world, then his quote does make sense. However, fast forward today and women do have equality with men, something which the quote assumed would never happen. Bull fucking shit. I'm gonna read this shit. Okay, this is Charles Fourier in his own words. Okay. English legislation. He basically says that France is the one good man, but one good nation. And he points to England as being the hive of scum and villainy. And he says, is there a shadow of justice to be seen in the fate that has befallen woman? It is not a young woman, a mere piece of merchandise displayed for her sale to the highest bidder as exclusive property. Is not the consent she gives to the conjugal bond derisory and forced on her by the tyranny of prejudices that obsess her from childhood on? Oh God, internalized misogyny even then. People try to persuade her that her chains are woven only of flowers, but can she really have any doubt about her degradation? Oh, fucking! Oh, I want to kick you in the teeth. Even in those regions that are bloated by philosophy, such as England, where a man has the right to take his wife to market with a rope around her neck and sell her like a beast of burden to anyone who will pay his asking price. Okay, so the fucking thing about wife selling is, even back then, they didn't fucking understand.
Chattel!
I mean, no, it wasn't. Wife selling was a way for peasants to get a affordable divorce. And it was consensual with everybody.
A few years ago.
So what was the rope for?
I think the rope was his.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I think because basically what I've seen of the images, they just have the woman and there's a bunch of guys bidding and everybody's having a good fucking time and it's not a situation where it was coerced at all. And if you read the literature on it, it's pretty explicit on that. It was just a way for peasants who couldn't afford a fucking divorce through the church to get a divorce or to have it publicly recognized that they were no longer married.
That's actually really interesting. Like all this nuanced stuff about history.
It's lost.
I know, and it's so interesting.
It just ends up this. And he was closer to this, so he should have known better, but I guess he didn't even research. I'm going back to his quote, is our public opinion on this point much more advanced in that crude era when the Council of Mason, a true council of vandals, debated whether or not women had a soul and decided the affirmative by a margin of only 3 votes? Okay, the Council of Mason was a joke. That was people trolling. Okay, it was not intended to be. It was never a serious proposition.
So it was essentially like the monk debate in Canada: are men obsolete?
Well, it was less of a serious proposition than that. Literally, there was like it was a but. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I could be wrong, but historically,
a modest proposal.
Yeah, it was either a modest proposal or it was a bunch of jokers who did it.
But
it was not seriously advanced.
Historical study has become so selective. I remember I encountered you, Karen, ages ago, and being of Irish ancestry, I'm fairly familiar with my ancient traditions, and you were the first fucking person putting it forward that no, it was pretty shitty or good in equal amounts for both people. So how is this idea that feminism is responsible for women being able to divorce? I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Thank fuck somebody has opened a fucking history book. Thank you. And that's kind of what got me into this. So, because I thought I was like the only fucking person who was actually paying attention.
Well, what I found.
No, Karen, don't. I want to finish this because it gets better. It gets better. Oh, gets really good. English.
This is being recorded.
Yeah. You balked at that?
Envahis le Bastille.
Hello, my chérie.
Baguette.
Oh my God! What did I start?
I'm muting. The morphine is taking over.
Dude. Excuse me. Do you happen to have any Grey Poupon?
All right. Okay. I'm going to read this. All right. English legislation. Remember, this is the one good Frenchman in the one good French country. English legislation, which the moralists praise so highly, grants men various rights that are no less degrading for the sex, women, such as the right. Get this. Listen to what I'm about to say. Such as the right of a husband to sue his wife's recognized lover for monetary indemnification. Charles Fourier pointed to a law in which one man can sue another man for money and said women are oppressed by it. That person, that comment, what did he say? Oh,
because the men cheated on it.
No. She's cheating on him.
Yeah, she's cheating on the guy. So the fact that he can sue the lover, that's an issue. Remember, this is the country where today we have it's illegal for a father to ask for a paternity test without the authorization of the mother.
She should be able to enter into a marriage contract with a man that requires that he support her till the end of her days, right? And support any children that are born within that union. Okay, but she should also have the right, the liberty, to bestow her womanly flower on all and sundry, all over the place, like the queen of the fucking bonobos, right? And still make her husband pay for the...
No, but this is even worse than that, Karen. This is just the right of a husband, presumably, to sue a lover or his wife's recognized lover. So this is all up aboard. He knows she's screwing him. That's, it's not even that he's divorcing her or he has any recourse with that issue.
Yeah, no, it's because
her upkeep.
She should be able to expect her husband to pay for everything, and not her lover. If her lover had some kind of fear that maybe one day he would be sued and made to pay for, the issue of his loins being, brought forth from her loins, and then this poor fucking cuck being saddled with the financial, oh my goodness. If men thought, oh my goodness, I might end up actually having to pay for my own fucking offspring if this husband can sue me for fucking his wife, okay, well then men might not actually say yes when she wants to get fucked by them.
Yeah, this is Charles Fourier's conception of a woman lacking liberty is a law in which one man can sue another man, and the only possible negative outcome for her is maybe when she's sashaying towards a man who's not her husband, he might be like, you know what, lady, your price tag is high.
I don't feel like getting sued today.
I don't feel
like getting sued today. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what he considered to be a violation of women's liberty. I'm not even going to include the ridiculous historical bullshit that this guy did not. This didn't come from a mindset that women will never be equal. This comes from an absolute mindset of I do not give a shit about men, the situation for men. I only care about the situation for women. Because if he actually cared about the situation for men, he would be like, oh wait, that makes a little bit of sense because he has to pay for her, not as a possession, but as a ward. And
all of her children.
And in some cases, she might actually not even be living in his house. And he has to pay for the lover's house too. That has happened under English law. So he's I might want to get my money back. I don't really want to pay for you to shack up.
It's like the Bill Burr thing, right? Okay, so you work hard, you earn money, you get married, you find a woman, you fall in love, you get married, you buy her a house, you're living together in the house, you're working hard, you're paying all the bills, and then fucking you come home one day, you find her in bed with your freaking next door neighbor, she hands you divorce papers, suddenly you're sleeping on a fucking futon, right? You're still paying for the house that they're both living in, and there's a whole lot of reasons within that arc of a story.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of inability to see the situation for men, and I think he genuinely, when he says, and I quote, as a general thesis, I wish I could do a pompous French accent. Social progress and historic changes occur by virtue of the progress of women towards liberty, and decadence of the social order occurs as a result of a decrease of the liberty of women. He literally means that it only matters.
How does
women?
How does
Sorry, I was interpreting.
Decadence follow from a restriction of liberty for anyone? Decadence is defined as people doing whatever the fuck they feel like without any mind to the consequences. Decadence is about doing whatever the fuck you want, no matter who you hurt, no matter what the negative consequences are. That's what decadence is. Oh, I'll fucking overeat. I'll freaking become morbidly obese. Fucking who cares about the consequences? I like this fucking chocolate mousse, and I'm just gonna fucking keep eating it until, and I'm gonna drink until my liver's dead, and I'm gonna fucking smoke cigarettes and... Never mind. I'm gonna... Okay.
And somebody else is gonna pay the bills.
All right.
The next girl's gonna pay for it.
Yeah, but it's like this guy was wrong, and the funny thing is that someone didn't call him out on it because he wish I had the actual. Okay, just a second. I have to find it again. But the guy, like, somebody called him out on it. Said you're making a lot of fucking assumptions about what Charles Fourier was thinking, and incidentally, as we can see with the extended quote, all of those assumptions are fucking wrong.
Yeah.
No, Charles Fourier was explicitly meaning society is judged by the liberty of women. Full stop. Men don't matter.
Yeah. No, that's fucking absolutely 100% retarded. But it's one of those things that, okay, if we were living like the fucking bonobos in the trees and there was no such thing as a marriage contract and there was no such thing as the obligation of men to support women, it would be arbitrary and mean to give a man who was married to a woman the right to sue her lover, right? Because, what's that lawsuit compensating him for if he's not paying for her? If he's not paying for her, if he's not paying for the children that she brings into the union, right, then he needs no compensation. It would be entirely arbitrary and unfair and mean, and all it would do would be to restrict women's ability to, fucking get whatever dick they want, right? Yeah, no, then you would have a case. But in the context of all of the surrounding laws regarding a husband's obligation to his wife and to his offspring, or not to his offspring, but to the offspring that are born within the union of the marriage, right, whether they're his or not, yeah, no, he should have every right to demand compensation from some dude who's knocking up his fucking wife and saddling him with a bunch of bastards.
Okay. I have a serious question because y'all know way more about this than me. I'm a newbie. Has there ever been a successful alienation of affection case against men that you know of?
I think that was, a parental alienation? I'm sure.
Alienation of affection. This is when a wife sues the husband. This is traditionally how it has been done in my world. Sues the mistress for alienation of affection. You pulled him away from me, so I am now levying a suit against you. But has this ever been done by a man against a man that you know of?
Yeah, but no, probably not. But it would be, for men, it would be, and this is entirely in line with just general attitudes of men and women regarding evolutionary psychology and stuff like that. If you actually ask men and women, which scenario do you see as the bigger betrayal? Your partner has a sexual affair. It's strictly sex. That's all it is, right? And it means nothing, and it's just maybe he hired a prostitute or something like that, right? Okay. Versus whether your spouse has an emotional affair, they didn't even have sex, but there was an emotional sexual attraction going on there, and your spouse is falling in love with this other person, right?
That's why I'm asking, yeah.
Which you find the bigger betrayal, and men generally almost always say the first one would be the bigger betrayal, the sexual affair, right? Mm-hmm. And women say the second one, the emotional affair.
That is why I'm asking. I'm trying to get a grasp on, because you guys do know way more about this than
and
me.
The laws generally suit what people would see as the larger, so I don't know if, there might have been, but I don't know whether alienation of affection laws were restricted to only women being able to do that, or whether they were gender neutral.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is reason to think that they might have been something that was the sole, the sole legal tool of a woman against a mistress, where in similar way, like a man divorcing his wife with grounds, all he needed was adultery. A woman needed adultery and cruelty, or adultery and abandonment, or adultery and something else, right? Like it was very, very difficult for a woman to obtain a divorce 300 years ago on the basis of adultery alone on the part of her husband.
Exactly so, and the reason I'm asking is because I'm wondering if this is a kind of feminist workaround for, yeah, you know what I mean? And if you can't get him on equal grounds, then you're going to get him on emotional grounds. And so that's why I'm asking. I don't know enough, but I learn a lot. So, but I've always found alienation of affection such a bullshit. It's such a bullshit thing. So I was wondering if there'd been any.
Boils down to, alienation of affection boils down to you're not coming home to me, you're not maintaining my household, you're not spending money on me, you're not providing for me, you're spending money on this other mistress. All of those things, right? And so essentially, lots of women have been able to overlook a philandering husband who just goes out and fucking bangs random women and doesn't really spend
bands, right?
Money, and always comes home to her and is devoted to her and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Because he's still fulfilling his part of the bargain, and because at least until very recently, he would not have been held responsible financially for any children that he sired by his mistress, unless he chose to be. He would have to legitimate a bastard child. You know, sort of the way Jon Snow was legitimated by Eddard Stark, right, in Game of Thrones.
Can I
right?
slither in here for a sec? I just want to say one thing before I go, because I gotta go sleep. I only got like 3 hours sleep last night.
Yeah, me too.
Whatchamajigget? I just find it amazing that they still had the same issue back then. Like, this was written in 1841, and they still had the. Did they do the same thing that back then as they do now? Like, they just make up shit about how bad women had it, or have it over there and back then. Because this is what he's done. He just made shit up about how bad women have it over in England and back then. So they did it then too.
I will say I thought the Republic was pretty balanced with regard to women's role, and I thought that was pretty okay. It was pretty, yeah. But no, whenever you get new emotional reasoning, it always goes skewiff.
Well, I don't know. I just think, you know, honestly, oh God, and I hate to say this, but
do it.
Should women even be allowed? Should women even be allowed to vote?
No,
I don't know.
No, I can't say this though. No. But I think it's potentially yes, right? But there has to be some.
Nobody should be able to vote. We shouldn't have a democracy at all. It's a horrible system.
Okay, Remy is an anarcho-capitalist. Women should not have the vote, because no one should have the vote, because we should all have vote with money, or structure ourselves with money.
I don't know. Maybe only people who own property and actually have like a stake in it should be allowed to vote.
No,
I'm kind of along Brian's line.
Vote with money is the best system.
You have to have some skin in the game. That's my only criteria. You have to have skin in the game.
Why vote with money?
No, that's been proven false so many times.
Net taxpayers, which means anybody actually working for the government, including the president, including members of parliament, including fucking civil servants, including anybody who gets their income from the government, regardless of whether they pay taxes on that income, they are pulling more out of the government than they put in. Welfare moms, anybody who's like freaking, anybody who's even, you know, like the working poor who pulls services that, you know, amount to like $100 a year more out of the system than they put in. If we actually just judged it by money, the cumulative monetary contribution, if you look at that New Zealand report, women don't even fucking come close to ever being net tax contributors. Would, as a group, Some of them would pay some of them would pay net taxes, and some of them would be able to vote, but 90% of them or more would not be able to. And you could just base it all on fucking, are you paying more taxes into the government than you're pulling out in services? And
Okay. I'm going to take off here with that.
Aw. Okay.
Well, I just have to. What? I have to.
Well, we love you. That's all.
I
You
woke
know?
up at 3 a.m. with a blinding headache.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I gotta go too. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
I actually should go too. I gotta troll the comments on my latest video.
There you go.
Karen doesn't have to go because she's
It's so
ill or
good,
tired.
though.
It's because she must do.
You're
she
so
must do
kicking the
evil
hornet's nest.
upon
It's
the world.
brilliant.